Welcome to Take the Plunge MTG. I'm Dade.
And I'm Sully, and today we're here to talk about the now up and coming release of Commander Masters, and just some of the things we've noticed that are, great pros, but also some things that are, lacking. So let's get into it.
First, we want to look at the rares that are over $20 because this is really where the most of your money can be made if you're cracking packs. These are the rares you really want to be pulling if you're opening a box or something like that, or even if you're just in a draft. It's gonna feel pretty bad if you open some of these rares, but if you get the ones over $20, then you might be in a better spot.
hmm
The first one on here is Archfiend of Despair, which is currently sitting at $40.
hmm It's its original printing was back in Battle Bond, and hasn't seen a reprint as far as I know for a long time. Battle Bond's an old set, at least in my opinion.
It was a really
Um,
good set too.
it was a good set. I like the gamer sort of gamer background it came from, basing it on online games and such. But yeah, it's been pretty high priced for quite a while. I remember trading one away recently. And look out for a price drop on this one, just because it's been a little scarce.
Yeah, although it has a very powerful effect, I can see this one dropping a lot because it doesn't have a lot of printings, and this is its first print in a while. So yeah, just be prepared for the price to drop more down from 40. I could see it hitting something like 20 or something like that. Kind of like what happened with what's it called? The one where whenever an opponent draws a card, you draw two cards.
Oh, Consecrated Sphinx.
Yeah, like that one. That was like 50, and then after Double Masters 2022, it went down to like 20. And I feel like that's
Uh-huh.
pretty similar to this one.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna see a lot of similar price drops, like as from Double Masters.
Absolutely.
hmm next up is like our crown and glory, and the one that every Commander player has been waiting for is Jeweled Lotus, which is currently sitting, base copies are sitting at like 70. And we're hoping this one sees a more significant drop than others, but we can only cross our fingers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really hoping that the alternate treatments are going to dilute the price a little bit. But with how popular Jeweled Lotus was in the original Commander Legends, I don't know if this one's going to drop much more than down to like 60.
Yeah,
Um, I would compare this to something like Force of Will, where it's just a really good card that you're always going to want to be playing in a lot of your decks. And even though it might
yeah.
see a bit of retraction, it's going to be up there. It's Jeweled Lotus.
It's one of the best staples in Commander, period.
Yeah. And if you want one of those the textured foil ultimate thing,
Oh,
you're gonna be spending a lot of money, maybe even more than the old extended art foil Jeweled Lotus would going for 600.
yeah. If any of you are thinking about cracking packs, pray that you get something like that.
Next up, we have Doubling Season, which is one that has sat at a very high price, and currently it's even higher than Jeweled Lotus. It's at $75.
Yeah, and like even its original printing back in Ravnica City of Guilds sits around 90 right now. Um, and seeing this reprinted is pretty cool. I grew up playing it and just in my green decks, and seeing just this revive itself is pretty cool.
Yeah, in terms of commander, I would consider this a very like casual card with it being five
hmm
mana only to double your stuff, but it does double your stuff. So if you can ramp yourself up to 5 mana and you can afford a couple turns to start doubling your stuff, this is a really powerful effect that you might want to see. Um, I feel like this one's also going to stick around a high price just because it's a really good effect.
Yeah, such a good effect on an enchantment is definitely worth keeping its price.
Absolutely.
And coming in at another crowning reprint from all the way from Commander 2017, I believe, is the Dragon, which all of you Dragon fans, I'm sure, are excited. You've seen a lot of good new cards come out, like Miram and the one from D&D, the original D&D set.
What, Tiamat?
Thank you, Tiamat.
Yeah.
Tiamat. My roommate would kill me for not remembering that. Um,
Yeah.
and
Tiamat is cool, but the Dragon, the Eminence ability keeps it, you know, pretty powerful
mhm.
in terms of dragons. It's an effect you usually have to pay a good few mana for. I know there's the one dragon, or the one like human card that makes your dragons cost less, but this is in the command zone. You just get that cost reduction forever.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
and the Dragon itself is just a absolute powerhouse. Uh, if you ever get to the 9 mana to cast it, I've never really paid attention to Dragon decks. It's just never been quite my shtick. Uh, but I would hope that the higher availability for this card in terms of price and just seeing more printings is gonna, bring it back a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like this one has a greater capability to drop. I've noticed that a lot of the like legendary creatures and stuff, like the non partner legendary creatures really fall off a lot when they see reprints like this, while some of the other cards that you can play in more of your decks are going to stay higher. So even though the Dragon is going to be a really popular commander, I can see this one going down more significantly than stuff like Jewel Lotus.
Yeah, yeah,
Next up, we see the Great Henge, which we just saw in Lord of the Rings as the party tree. It's a really good
yeah,
card, and it sees play in pretty much any green deck that has a lot of creatures.
yeah.
Uh,
Sees a lot of play in counter decks, life gain. It's a nasty mana rock. That it's just a card that fits in any green deck.
and if you have a big creature, it goes even on mana because
Yeah,
it's gonna cost green green. It's gonna come down for green green. And I don't know if this one's gonna drop because it just saw a reprint in Lord of the Rings, so I think it might sit around like 40 or 50.
it might, but also you got to think that the Great Henge in LOTR was a box topper type card.
True,
So
true.
so we're getting like a reprint base copy, and also I didn't see if there was a full art, but I would assume there's an etched.
There is, yeah.
Okay.
I think all of the rares have a etched foil
Okay.
in this set. But currently that one's sitting at $50. I think this one could stand to drop a little bit, but I don't know how much it will. We'll have to see.
Coming in next, another really anticipated reprint for many blue players, especially in like the higher power in CDH, is Fierce Guardianship, which not only comes back in after not seeing a reprint since its debut in I forget which commander set.
C20.
Thank you, C20. Now, after not seeing a reprint since C20, it's good to see it back, and with new art and a new and better price point for many players.
Yeah, this one has gone up to about 70 at some points. So seeing it even at 35 now is really nice. I could see this go down to like 25. What I really want to do is pick up one of the C20 copies once they just dump right before release. I feel like that's when I'm going to buy, but that's kind of taking a risk because it could go even lower. But I could see this thing going down to like 25.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's currently at 35.
it would be great to see, and it dropping even lower is going to just be even more worthy of celebration.
Yeah. And another one from the same cycle, Deflecting SWAT, is currently sitting at about $30.
Mm-hmm.
This one's another exciting one that hasn't been in print since C20, and it's pretty much red Fierce Guardianship. So it's really good. Pretty much every red deck, if you are casting your commander, you're going to want to have this spell in your deck.
And another cool part of note is I'm really liking the new full art of just Corval just
Yeah, exactly.
swatting away a spell. Um, the Magda player in me who just loves dragons in a Magda deck is liking that kind of art.
Yeah.
And hopefully we see that price tank as well further than it already has.
I could see that one going down to like 20. I could see that.
Yeah, yeah.
The next one we have This one's going to be one that people are probably going to be excited to see since it hasn't been here since Mystery Booster, and then before that it was Mystical Archive and the Mystery Booster around the same time, but it's
Yeah.
Demonic Tutor.
Yeah.
It's been upshifted again to Mythic, which doesn't make me very thrilled at the prospect of the price going down. I don't think it's going to, honestly, but it's at 30 right
No.
now.
No, Demonic Tutor is way too. It's one of those cases where it's way too good of a card. Whether no matter what rarity it sits at, it's just going to be worth that much.
Yeah, I think that upon release, that other copies of Demonic Tutor will probably go down a bit, but only for a little bit. I think this one's going to stick around 30.
Yeah, yeah. Coming
Uh,
in,
yeah, go ahead.
moving on to the next card. Another great green card that sees play in all levels of EDH is Craterhoof Behemoth, a great drop in ETB for a finisher. And right now it's sitting at about $25, and it may see a price drop. It's one that doesn't have a ton of printings, but it is just a good card.
Yeah, yeah. For any green beat down strategy, this one's good. It comes down expensive, but you can sometimes cheat it out. You can do different things, and it's a pretty good card.
Hmm.
Next up is Land Tax, which I was kind of shocked to see. I'm pretty sure it was last in Battle Bond as well. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That was its last printing.
yeah, Battle Bond, and this one is just—it's a good effect. I don't know how many decks I'm going to be playing it in, or how many decks people really do play it in. But it's at $30 right now, and I think it could see a bit of some retraction when this set goes out.
Outside of it doesn't, or it sees more play outside of CDH, which is where Plunge tends to take its focus. Just because it's normally CDH land bases don't rely on basics too
Right.
much.
Yeah, and even if they did, I don't know if I want to spend mana on something that fills out my hand with mana. Sometimes, I mean, can be cool, but I usually want my faster mana pieces.
You also have to think that it does thin out your deck every turn,
That is fair, actually.
which just increases your percentage of drawing cards you actually want besides just basic lands.
Yeah. Then I don't know. I could see this one drop, but regardless, pretty good card.
Yeah, good card to see again. Another great card that's seeing a reprint that got it got reprinted in, I believe, a recent master set is Cyclonic Rift, um, which is a tried and true one-sided board wipe
At instant speed.
at instant speed, no less. Um,
I'm shocked to see it at 25. I think
yeah,
it'll go lower though, which is even cooler.
it'd be cool to see it go down to like 20 or even like 18. uh, for the sake of it's always been at prices like 40 for the longest time.
Yeah, absolutely. I picked this one up when it was at like 30.
Mm.
I still don't think I regret it though, even if it's going down now.
Yeah,
It's cyclic.
it's good to see staples like this going down for access to for so that other people can access the cards uh, easier. It's nice to see a good staple go down in price.
Yeah, it's good to see it get a reprint too. I mean, most of these cards have needed reprints, whether it's because they're just that good or if it's been a long time since it's seen a print. So these are good reprints to see. Again, this is the good side here. Next up is Champion's Helm, which is sitting at $20. It's seen only two printings, one in Commander 2011 and then another one. I forget where it was, but this one is not quite, in my opinion, to the caliber of the rest of these cards. I think this one is more of a scarce card that has a higher price, but I could see this one coming down to really cheap.
Hmm. I think it'll also go down to really cheap too, because we have other cards that definitely take precedence when it comes to slots in decks, like Lightning Greaves or Swiftfoot Boots,
Right,
which do even better or perform better than this card.
right. Making your creature slightly bigger, I could do better with other enchantment or other equipment, so I can do better.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
currently at 20. So maybe you want to crack that, and maybe maybe you don't because you're going to see other people crack it, and it'll go down in value.
Moving on to another great card that's seeing a reprint. Just saw a reprint in Double Masters 2022, and this time is getting an upshift into Mythic rarity is Smothering Tithe, which great card. Um, Goes for about 20 right now. Went for about 40 for a long time, 30, 40.
Yeah, it did.
Though I honestly don't expect it to go down in price too much, just because it's getting upshifted into Mythic, and it also is a card that has really good effect, a great tax effect that ramps you.
Right. Yeah, I feel like this card belongs at the $20 price point. Maybe it'll hit 15 right as the set comes out, but I don't know. Wizards is self-aware now. You know, they know that they're offering us a Smothering Tithe here.
Oh yeah.
With this set, if you want to crack packs, you're gonna have to pay up for these.
Oh yeah.
um, Next up is Grand Abolisher, another white card that just saw a reprint like 3 months ago in a secret lair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's at $20 right now. It's been at $20-$30 for a while. It's at rare, I'm pretty sure, which is good. But I I don't know. I mean, it's Grand Abolisher. It just saw a reprint, so I don't know
Yeah.
what's gonna happen with this one.
Yeah, I gotta say the new art, the full art, is pretty banging in my opinion.
That's fair. They've done a good job with the art. That's another thing I have to say about this is I am quite impressed with the art. I think they've done a great job with the full arts. I'm just, there's some of the things we'll talk about later that are just very odd to me.
Yeah. Next up is actually a personal favorite card of mine. Had sees a lot of play in my Derevi stack is Miri Weatherlight Duelist, a really awesome combat trick effect um, that should see more play, but doesn't necessarily. Right now, it's sitting at about 20, and I expect it to go down in price.
Yeah.
It's not as good as cards like Jeweled Lotus or SWAT or Fierce Guardianship, but
Right. I'd say it's
I do.
more. I'd say it's more about which decks you can really play it in, because Miri, you're going to see it as your commander. Like this getting a reprint, it's another thing like that legendary creature effect, where it's just kind of like it's a legendary creature. It's either my commander or it's not. So it probably won't see, or it'll probably see a significant price drop. But
Hmm.
good card.
Hmm.
The next one is one of the ones where they've inserted it in there because they haven't printed it in a very long time. Personal Tutor.
Jeez.
Yeah, before it got announced, it was like $80, and right now it's sitting at about $50.
And we can only expect it to go lower.
It's gonna go down.
It's a pretty bad tutor, but it's just one that's just been really scarce.
Right, exactly. It's like Imperial Seal if Imperial Seal was really bad.
Hmm.
Because so this is another one from Portal 3 Kingdoms. So how Portal 3 Kingdoms worked is there were no instants. So that's why this card is as bad as it is. I'm under the impression that just like Imperial Seal, that with this one, this was supposed to be a functional reprint of Mystical Tutor. But since sorcery was the only thing in the deck, it was a sorcery, and you could find a sorcery. So you end up with Personal Tutor, which is kind of a bad tutor.
Hmm. Uh, Moving on to another, a pretty good card that saw an original printing in Hours of Devastation is Finale of Devastation, which,
War of the Spark.
oh, sorry, War of the Spark. I was thinking of a different card. Um, War, War of the Spark saw this card, and Finale of Devastation is one of the best green tutors that also sees so many. I've seen so many games where someone blasts infinite mana into it and just ends the game. Uh,
Absolutely.
Being able to tutor for any creature out of your graveyard or your library, and then also boosting all of your creatures if you manage to dump the 12 mana into it. Brilliant card, and also is seeing a really nice alternate art.
Yeah, really. That one's another one of my favorites for the alternate arts.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's a really versatile card. It's at 30 right now. I don't know how much more it's going to drop. I could see it going to like maybe 20, 25, but it's a really good card.
Hmm. Hmm. We could
Um, yeah, what's up?
I'm just saying we could hope for 25, but
Yeah.
it's another one of those good cases.
Oh yeah. This one's one that's one of my personal favorites. That's not seen a reprint since its original set, Imp's Mischief.
Yeah.
Right now it's at 25, and it's pretty much deflecting SWAT, but black,
Hmm.
and it's 2 mana. But whatever, it's in black, so
Yeah, black doesn't see a lot of high interaction effects like this. So decks like Eric and Yawgmoth and Tiny Bones do love this deck or this card.
yep. It's a really cool effect, and with Kirik it comes down for 1 mana. So that's really cool. You're gonna lose a lot of life depending on what your count or what you're redirecting, but it's usually gonna be worth it in mono black. So I expect to see this one go down. I think that it's only so high because of scarcity, but it's just a good card on top of that. Um, I could see it coming down to like 10 though.
Moving on, we have also seeing a reprint, which actually this is one I don't pay attention to card-wise very much, is Loyal Retainers.
Yep.
Uh,
It's
which,
another one of the weird ones from the Portal sets that they're
yeah,
reprinting.
which technically doesn't look like it's seen a print since
Is it Judge
doesn't look
promo,
like
right?
Um, it looks like it had a judge promo of a sort, but also it saw printing in the Amonkhet, um, or Finale of Devastation, like chase cards.
The Hour of Devastation. Those? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like the chase arts, kind of like the Kaladesh Inventions, but it was all like uh creatures and sorceries, and they all had the interesting like Egyptian style on them.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, which I mean, one of those goes for about $60 right now, but this card, it's a good effect. Sacrificing a that creature, a little 1/1 for 2 and a white for a legendary creature card in your graveyard, um, is a pretty good effect, but
Yeah.
not good enough to stay that high in price, in my
Right.
opinion. I
Yeah.
think it's gonna go down pretty far.
Yeah. It's currently at 30. I could see it hitting like 10. I hope it hits 10 because it's a good effect, and I like that it's in white, but it's very expensive. The next one is Avacyn Angel of Hope, which is $50, and it's a good card. I think it'll stay pretty high because I think it's seen another reprint within the last few years and didn't really drop.
Hmm.
Even though yes, it is a legendary creature and it doesn't slot in a lot of decks because it's 8 mana. I don't know. Giving all your stuff indestructible is a crazy effect.
It really is. It's not really seen in the 99 of a deck. It's more seen at the masthead as a mono white deck.
Yep.
Um, every spiteful white player that loves to play land destruction or board wipe tribal.
Yeah.
Um, but all around a really good effect on everyone's favorite angel.
Hmm.
Coming in next is one that everyone's been really hoping to see a reprint for, especially since the new drop with Shelob from Lord of the Rings is Arachnogenesis. It was almost just like a 1+1. It was kind of on Wizards' end, it feels like market manipulation.
Absolutely.
But right now it's sitting at $50, which uh, because it only has like one printing, it should see a pretty decent drop.
I
Um,
I think it will.
The only
I
the only card I see that compares to it is Ink Shield, which is in Orzhov and is 5 mana to cast.
Yeah.
And putting those in comparison to one another, I think this will see maybe stay a little higher than Ink Shield, but not by much.
Right. Yeah. It's a good effect, but I prefer my combat tricks to either be less mana or not be combat tricks. I don't really like combat tricks, so I feel like this one does.
Turbo Fog.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're playing some sort of like trying to just fog out the game or something, or just make a ton of creatures, it can be good. I don't think it's $50 good. So hopefully it'll go down. I'd say
Hmm.
wait on this one.
For sure, for sure. Wait for this one to trickle down a little bit.
The next one is another one of those chonkers from Portal Three Kingdoms. Capture of Jingzhou. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Jingzhou, Jingzhou, I don't know.
Something like that. But it's sitting at $120 right now, and it's literally just temporal manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's another one where I think that it is best to wait on it. This is also going to look very similar to Imperial Seal, where it was very expensive before, and then it's just not going to be that much. I could see this sitting at about 20, because that's where temporal manipulation is, but I can't see it being any more than like 20.
Yeah, it really should not see anything higher than 20, just because it's no different than temporal manipulation.
Exactly. It's
It,
the
it's
same text.
it's for the sake of redundancy in decks like Paco or mono blue decks. Uh, Next on our roster here is Extra Planar Lens, which is I think a pretty cool card that doesn't see a lot of play.
Sitting at about
Um,
$25 right now.
yeah, sitting at about 25 right now. Uh, I expect it to drop a little bit, maybe to like 20 or like 17.
Yeah.
Um, just an effect where you can double up your mana of certain. Uh, well, actually,
It doubles the mana for the when you tap a land for mana with the same name.
yes, yes. So it could see it probably will get more love in non singleton formats, unless you're in a more casual setting with a lot of basics in your land base. But
Absolutely.
for,
Yeah. I think where this is going to shine is in casual commander, where you see a lot of basics, and you don't see enough interaction to care about exiling a land that you control.
hmm
Because I think that's the big risk with extraplanar lenses. It gets smacked, and now your land is gone.
Yeah, yeah. You did just lose a land out of your hand.
Oh no, it's on the battlefield.
Oh, my
It's
bad.
it's
I didn't read the
exile
effect.
target land you control. Yeah, it's tough if you lose
hmm
extraplanar lens.
Yeah.
Next up, our final Portal Three Kingdoms card is Sun Quan, Lord of Wu. I'm pretty sure it just gives everything horsemanship, doesn't it?
I'm pretty sure it is just the mono blue horsemanship legendary. For
Yeah.
4 and 2 blue, it just gives everything horsemanship.
So your stuff can't be blocked. That's it. It's currently $65, and it's gonna go down.
Don't get me wrong, horsemanship's a good effect because nobody else plays horsemanship. But I don't think it needs to stay at $65.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, it's 6 mana 4/4 that just makes your stuff unblockable. It's good, but it's not $65 good.
hmm last one on our roster that is over $25 is a card that hasn't seen a printing in quite a while, but is an effect we see on other cards, just not in the same essence. Is Grave Pact. Grave Pact is a 4 mana enchantment that equalizes out all of your sacrifices,
Yeah,
which I think Dictative Erebos does the same thing, just with less black pips, but
right.
more mana.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, it's a good effect. It's good to see a reprint for it. I could see it going down a few dollars, but it's a good effect. It'll see play, and it'll probably stick around, like a like 15 to 20 kind of price.
I think it'll drop just about to about 15, in my opinion. As I was saying, Dictative Erebos is sack 1 for your opponent sacking 2.
Is that really how it
So,
works?
yeah, yeah.
Oh no, it's the same effect. It's just 5 mana, but it has flash. That's the difference.
Uh,
Um, so I mean, it's a good trade off with Dictative Erebos, which is currently at $10. So
okay.
maybe it could go down to $10. I don't know. We'll see.
It could, yeah.
But that's the good stuff. These are the cards that have seen reprints. I believe there are 25 that we just talked about. There are 25 cards that were great reprints, But there's a problem. There are 170 total rares and mythics in this set. And these boxes, which are going to have about 50 to 60, maybe 70 rares in them, are going to cost like $400. So, yeah, while it hits with some of these good reprints, this is 1/7 of the rares you're going to see. So you're going to see just as many crappers like Talrand as you're going to see these good cards.
Time to build my Talrand only Talrand deck.
Yeah. We'll talk about Talrand in a second specifically, because he's a specific case. But I saw so many people predicting, all right, when are they going to drop Talrand? And they did. And it's really disappointing to see a lot of the crappers on top or right beside these really nice cards that people want to see. And when you're charging $400 for a box, you really have to make a good value statement.
Yeah. Many people who buy boxes hope, like, even in their subconscious, that the cards I get are going to be worth more than the box I buy. And unless you're pretty lucky, that's you don't have too high a chances with buying a box of this stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very low expected value. Yeah. It's like, I think a third or a fourth of the box price is the EV, the expected value of a box. And they really played it safe by protecting a lot of reprint equity with their upshifts and that kind of thing, which we'll also go over in a few minutes. But if you really want to put into perspective the expected value, think about this. In a set booster box, you get 360 cards. You get 24 packs of 15 cards. If it's a $400 set box, that means the average price of every single card you take out should be $1. That's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You might see some of these lucky pulls, like a Grave Pact or a Fierce Guardianship or something like that. But if that's only one every few packs, or how set one every 7 packs, essentially, that's going to feel really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So even for those best 25 rares, it's under $1,000 for all of them, and you're not going to open all of them. You're going to get some of them, maybe. Yeah, there are 170 rares and mythics. Those are only 25 of them, and a lot of the other ones look like something like Talrand.
Yeah. And this set, while we did see a lot of good reprints that were necessary, like the free spell cycle, free commander based spell cycle, there were a lot of cards that Wizards just kind of missed or left just kind of lying in the gutter. In this case, cards that definitely needed a reprint and were just like sitting at critical mass and have stayed there for a long time.
Yeah.
Cards like Mindbreak Trap is a huge commander staple that has not seen a reprint since its original printing.
Yep.
And I see so many people that love that card, but it's really expensive.
If you want to talk about expensive, there's another one they missed, which deserves a mention. Mana Crypt.
Yeah, that only sees printings in master sets, which makes no sense as to why they didn't put it in this one.
Right, absolutely.
I know sometimes it can get up to around $200 for that card.
Yeah, right now I think it's at like 170 or something, which is insane.
Yeah.
I am a collector of Magic. I don't want to spend $170 on a card.
Exactly. I was lucky to buy it for 130 back in 21.
Yeah, and that was pretty recently after the original Double Masters came out, right?
That's correct, yeah.
The next one is another one that has not seen a non-premium reprint since its original print, is Lotus Petal.
Oh, jeez.
Ever since Tempest, it has only ever seen the Masterpiece, and it has seen the From the Vault treatments, but it has not gotten another regular reprint. So not seeing that in this set is really unfortunate. Even if we saw it at Rare or something like that, I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed to pull a Lotus Petal.
No, no one would see disappointment in pulling a Lotus Petal. That's a card that can can sit in most decks.
Yeah, and
Uh,
right now it's sitting at about $20, and it would have been nice to see it hit something like 10, which I could see happening if it got a reprint.
mhm. A lot of the other fast manas just kind of got missed out on. I know we're never going to see a reprint of Mox Diamond. I don't think Wizards is ever going to be that nice. But cards like, Mox Opal, and Chrome Mox it'd be pretty nice to see those go down.
Absolutely.
I know Mox Amber did just see a reprint, but a pretty chasey reprint over in Brothers War.
Right. Yeah, I was glad to get one because it went up to like 60 before that reprint, but I think it could
Yeah.
go even further down. While I'm okay with not seeing stuff like Mox Amber, I don't know why we didn't see other fast mana. Like, we didn't see Mana Crypt, Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, just ones that needed reprints.
Yeah, the colorless kind.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Our next one is Aggravated Assault, which is like $50 now. It's the 5 mana enchantment that you can pay 5 to take an extra combat. You can usually loop it with some stuff. This is just one that they've held out on for a long time.
Yeah.
Let me see what the last print was. It was. Oh, sorry. It's not 50. It's 35. The last non-secret layer print was Explorers of Ixalan. I've
Yeah.
never heard of that set, which is kind of funny.
It's from a while ago.
Yeah. So that one, just another miss.
Yeah. Another in the trend of seeing the Ur Dragon get reprinted, it didn't make sense for me to not see the other commanders from that rotation of decks get reprinted. Like Inala is a really fun wizard commander that just has a really neat effect that is a pretty loved commander by some people.
As a
Eh,
23-step win con, 1 card win con with Spellseeker.
I've looked into them. Yes.
I've
The,
looked at it as well.
the Spellseeker lines are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Uh, and then another commander that is loved by many people who just, love our favorite Fang tribal, the vampires, is Edgar Markov, which one of the best effects to the point, like to come from an eminence.
Yeah, it's banned in dual commander because it just creates so many creatures that you can beat down really fast.
Yeah, yeah, and him coming out of the command zone, getting off his chair, just makes things that much more difficult to deal with.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
And in my version of Edgar, it uses those tokens for a ton of value, like sacking them to draw cards, sacking them to tutor, sacking them to generate death triggers. It just creates a fun aristocrat deck.
Yeah. One other commander that I'm kind of confused why they didn't print is Corval. I don't know when he was last printed. Let's see. It was his original print in Throne of Eldraine. He's a
Hmm.
$10 commander that it would have just been cool to see. He doesn't have to be part of the value statement. He could have sat at like $5, but I would never feel bad cracking a Corvold out of my pack.
Yeah.
It's just a cool one that hasn't seen a print since its original printing. That would be nice to see.
Mm. Another one that we've seen a few printings of this in master sets, but Teferi's Protection could have used another reprint. I think it's a great card for most white commander decks, and it could have been seen again.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, this one's seen a few prints. It was in Double Masters 2022, but it just feels like a Commander Masters card. If they're really trying to appeal to the draft environment, Teferi's Protection's a pretty cool one to see. Like you're in a draft game, and it's just like, okay, you're doing your beatdown strategy. No thanks, you know.
no.
Another one. This one, in my opinion, is the biggest miss. Ranger Captain of Eos.
Oh
This one
gosh,
is
yeah.
$30 now. It's just too high, and it's such a cool and good effect. And this was their one chance to print it again.
Hmm.
Unless they do Modern Horizons 3 anytime soon, which I don't think they will. then this was the place to print Ranger Captain of Eos, and not seeing it just makes me sad because I
Yeah,
want to have a Ranger Captain of Eos.
it's a pretty loved card. Any white deck would enjoy to have it,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing it available to like more players in terms of price point and just more having more prints of it out there.
Yeah.
Uh, Something that I think is a huge miss is lands in general. I feel like we could have seen better lands get printed in the base set and in the precons. We're looking at cards like the allied fetch lands, the OG ones, pay one life, search your library for one or the other, get it on the field. Those cards have been sitting at critical mass for quite a while.
Polluted
And,
Delta, I believe, is still at like 40.
yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And
They gave
seeing
the
those,
they
go
gave
ahead.
they gave the enemy fetch lands a reprint in Modern Horizons 2, so this would have been a nice place to see the allied fetches.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Seeing those again reprinted would have been really nice. And a nice way to fill up that rare list uh,
Right,
in a better
absolutely.
way than what we're seeing here. No, also another one that could have, if they did one or the other, you could have also done the shock lands. The shocks were reprinted in Unfinity, but those were insanely expensive.
They did not change the price of them at all. I was kind of thinking they were going to, but it didn't. They just got really expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and
I
then
know they dipped for just a little bit, but came
yeah,
bouncing back with a vengeance.
yeah. And on the topic of a couple other good lands, Ancient Tomb is one that yes, it was in Lord of the Rings as well, but it's $70 still. It didn't really go down.
I don't think it went down at all.
No, I don't think it did. And then Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, was also in Lord of the Rings, but again didn't go down. It's still at like 30.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then there were just some there were some other ones that would have been good to see that I'm not super broken up about because they weren't like must haves, but they just would have been nice to see. Sylvan Safekeeper is a card that is, I believe, only been printed in Commander, right?
I think. Hang on,
Right.
I can fact check you here.
Since the original set. I know it had a really old print, but since then it's only showed up in Commander, I think. Let's see.
Yeah, we better look here. Judgment, CMA, C14, and it looks like it had. Oh, it's just got a gold border printing.
Okay.
So it's got 4 printings in total. The cheapest being the gold border, of course.
Yeah.
And it's sitting at about $20 right now. But know what? Yeah, it's not something I'm too broken up about either. It's a good card, but you might see a reprint later.
Yeah.
Be okay if it was. Great. A great card, green card that people miss. Probably would like to see also again printed as Seedborn Muse. I mean, it's Seedborn Muse. Why not?
Seaborn Muse. Didn't we get Windborn Muse? Hold on, let me check.
We did get Windborn Muse pretty recently.
Hold on. In Dominator Remastered.
Uh,
But I'd like to see the rest of this cycle, especially Seedborn Muse, get a reprint because this is another one that gets relegated to Commander, and
mm-hmm.
it isn't here.
Every Thrasios player.
Yeah. Speaking of Thrasios, um, where are the partners? Where are the partner commanders?
Actually,
Yeah. There are a few that are cheap, and there are a few that are expensive. Mostly more that are expensive.
yeah,
But not seeing them in this set is just really weird to me. I would have even been happy if they got their own like special rarity or something like that.
yeah,
I could see that. That could be cool.
yeah. Like time shifts, purple rarity type thing.
Oh, seeing them in time shifted, like seeing time shifted partners would be really interesting.
That would have been interesting. I don't know if Wizards will ever go for it, but hey, you can pitch to
Yeah,
them.
right. But not seeing them. This one is one again where it's like, okay, fine, but why? You know, why not? This is the
Yeah,
place to reprint those $30 Timnas and Thrasioses.
yeah, yeah. And the partners are such an iconic part of Commander. Um, sure, everyone loves their good single commander, but partners are just part of what makes up like the higher power community, and also just certain fun decks like Dargos and Malcolm decks.
Yeah, you don't get your fun Malcolm decks without your, Thrasios decks.
Yeah,
Gotta have both, you know?
absolutely. Yeah, another one that is still sitting at a pretty good price and it hasn't really changed because it's just a tried and true card is Ristic Study. I don't see why we didn't get that one. Um,
Right. They've seen that it holds its price, so there's nothing in terms of a value statement that they need to make where it's like, oh, we need to protect its reprint equity because it was in Jumpstart, and it still stayed at 30.
yeah, yeah.
So like, just weird to me. And then another enchantment that gets a lot of love from green decks, and again hasn't seen many prints. It was original print, a secret lair, and then I think like the list or something. Is Carpet of
Hmm.
Flowers. Um, it's a commander card. It's one of those cards that you don't see anywhere else except for commander. So not seeing it in this is weird to me.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a really good green card, and could have afforded to use a reprint, honestly.
Yeah.
Moving on, another card that would have liked more than just a commander reprint for the sake of commander is Nykthos, Trying to Nyx. A lot of devotion decks that are in the non-singleton formats would have liked to seen a price drop in this.
Yeah.
Um, and it even if it didn't drop too much, that's not too much of a loss for anybody.
Right. Absolutely. If it did drop, hey, good for them. Good for whoever picks one up, like me. I'd like to pick up a Nykthos.
If not, it would have just been a nice pull.
Right, exactly. And it's another one where yes, it sees play and stuff like Pioneer, but it sees a lot of play in Commander too.
Hmm.
And finally, for the ones that it would have been nice to see that weren't must-haves, but stacks pieces like Trinisphere. I don't think there was a single stacks piece printed in this set.
No, there wasn't, which is kind of awkward.
At least in the rare slot,
Yeah.
the pricier ones. I know some of them are uncommon, whatever. And if they printed Carpet of Flowers at uncommon, I'd be cool with that, But I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, no, sir.
But like all the rare stacks pieces that we haven't seen in a while, would have been nice to see them.
Yeah, things like Torpor Orb, maybe Winter Orb, Tangle Wire
Oh,
is one
Tanglewire.
that uh would be pretty nice. Trinisphere.
Yeah. Oh, I thought Torpor Orb was an uncommon. No, it's a rare. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Um,
instead of like all these good cards that could have, just seen good reprints, whether they be just base copies or full arts or etches, and seen price drops that they needed. Oh, we got cards like one that just got reprinted in the last year, like Savine's Reclamation. Uh,
Great card, but it's like 50 cents now.
yeah, yeah, it's like okay, I could have just gone on TCG and bought this,
Right.
or picked it up out of a bulk box.
Or
Instead,
open
here,
Dominaria Remastered.
yeah, yeah,
And speaking of that, a couple other ones from Dominaria Remastered. Urza, again, cool to see a reprint. But he was like $70 and went all the way down to 20. And it's good to see him, but I don't know. We just saw him this year.
yeah, yeah. We saw him already.
And
Uh,
then a real stinker is Chainer Dementia Master,
yeah,
which was a $10 card, which I bought at $10 from its original print, and then it got a reprint in DMR. It is now 20 cents. And what really gets me about this card, what gets me going about this, is that this was one of the like 10 cards they showed in their reveal stream. When they did their Commander Masters reveal stream, they put this card up in front of everybody's face and said, "Hey, look, it's a great rare. It's 20-cent piece of crap that we just got this year."
it's good in like a couple decks, and that's it.
Yeah, it's good in Keurig. That's why I bought it, but
Yeah.
it's not $10 anymore. When it was $10, super cool, but it's not.
Now, eh, we're we also saw like cards that were underrated that I think they're just kind of slide in there that people to see is Treasure Nabber, which is an underrated card in my opinion,
Yeah.
but we just got a reprinting of it, and we didn't need one that just plays the trick on you of thinking it's a dockside. Like
Right,
that new
yeah.
that new full art just looks like a dockside, like a slush dockside art.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that's one of the weirdest things is how many people were like, "Is that Dockside?" And it's like, no, no, it's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird Dockside thing.
It's the Steely.
Yeah. Another one is Sword of the Animist, which sees a printing in like every commander set now.
Hmm.
There are a lot of these, some of which I'm still happy to see, like Skull Clamp. I'm never upset to see a Skull Clamp, but Sword of the Animist is in every set, like every commander set now, and they decided, oh, put it at rare. Let's do that, and it just is weird to
Hmm. And I mean, I like this card because it can just be aptly described as a pipe bomb.
me. Okay.
But it's only 15 cents at rare is Ashling the Pilgrim. Some people who like playing mono red explosion type decks are probably enjoy seeing this, but I don't think it was necessary for the price it's at now.
Yeah. No, like cool, blow shit up, but do it at uncommon.
Yeah, actually. A downshift to uncommon for that would actually be pretty cool for Pauper.
It would.
Pauper EDH.
Yeah, that would be really cool to see more commanders introduced into that format, especially ones that are already really cheap. Like, just put it on common. It wouldn't hurt anything.
Yeah, yeah. Another one is Onofenza that is at uncommon, but nobody's ever. I've never heard of the card until now.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up again. I put it on the thing because of that. No, wait. Yeah, they downshifted it to uncommon, but it got a reprint in Multiverse Legends
Yeah.
and Dominaria United Commander,
Oh yeah, it did.
and yet I've still never heard of it.
It's got some use just on ETB, just bolstering. It's not a terrible effect, but it's not something. It's just not,
I don't want it in the command zone, and I don't want it in the 99. That's why.
no, no, it's not a card that people really want.
Yeah. And another one that's just saw a print in Multiverse Legends is Teysa Karlov.
Yeah,
Another one that's just a cool card, but I don't want to see it again. We just saw it.
yeah, it just got a print. Like, we do love a fun aristocrat commander. I do personally, but seeing Teysa again after almost a set ago,
Yeah,
it
this
getting
is like 3
reprinted.
months.
Yeah, almost 3 months ago, we saw a reprint, and honestly, probably looks better for those people who like their drip.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then the last one, Smothering Tide. We just saw it in Double Masters 2022. The price obviously isn't going anywhere because it got upshifted to Mythic. So what is this? What is this card doing in this set at Mythic?
It's only for the sake of getting more prints out there. That's it.
Yeah, this one I'm not super upset about. It's nice to see a $20 card, but at Mythic, man, oh my goodness, they really dropped the ball with upshifting that one to Mythic,
Yeah.
especially when it was just at Rare in 2022.
Yeah, and just seeing an instance of the secret lair effect again, where like think back to Concordant Crossroads where they released the left-handed cards, which thank you for the left-handed cards, I appreciate it. But seeing Concordant Crossroads get printed in a secret lair and then get printed again, just
Yeah,
kind of a sad for anyone who bought that set. And we're seeing that with Grand Abolisher. I'm personally feeling the sting myself. I bought the super drop for that set of secret lairs, and
yeah,
I was really happy to see my new Grand Abolisher. But
not
now
as
it's just
happy.
now it's like, oh, again.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I've been kind of keeping an eye on the secret lair effect since Concordant Crossroads because I was like right on my mouse about to buy the one with that in it because I was like, holy
Hmm.
cow, it's a $50 card in like a $30 secret lair. Why not? It's a good card. And then they said, and screw you.
Yep.
And now it's like $15.
Yeah.
So just seeing that again with Grand Abolisher is kind of a shame. Great
Yeah.
reprint, but they just printed it into the secret layer. Personally, my thought is take it out of the secret layer. I'm cool with it being Commander Masters. I just think that
Yeah.
you shouldn't print it in a secret layer right before. Maybe right after. That could be cool too. Where it's like,
Yeah.
hey, we're being transparent here. We just printed this, but
Here it is again.
right. And then one more little bit of bullshittery is Tolerant. Again, I said earlier, people were like, we're gonna get Tolerant, and we did. But why
Yeah.
rare again?
Actually, it's an effect that really sees play in uncommon card. Like it's an effect you see on other things. Do something, make a token.
Right. And
I don't think
it's
it needed to be sitting in the rare slot in this set because that's what most of these packs are going to be. Just Talrand.
right.
It's like it's kind of that feeling of like pulling an island in your rare slot on your alpha pack.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I spent the money for such a great pack. Oh, it's an island.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna feel exactly with Talrand. It's gonna be, oh man, my like $15 pack or some insane crap. My
Or
$15 pack and Talrand.
or even spending like the price of a new video game. Like I could go buy Cyberpunk 2077 for $70, and instead I just get a Talrand in one of my rare slots in a collector booster,
Yeah,
or even in multiple.
and of which there are only 4 packs in your collector booster
Yeah,
box. You can get $80, sure, new game or Talrand, Teysa,
yeah, yeah. Talrand, Tesa, Sylvains. Oh look.
Oh, Smothering Tithe. That's
Oh
20
hey, check
bucks.
that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another bit of bullshittery. Sorry, that was not the last thing. Why did they upshift all of these expensive cards? They even upshifted Bribery, which is like a $10 card. They just made sure that was not going anywhere. That's sitting at the whatever it is, like 10, $15 it's at right now.
Yeah.
There was no reason to do that. Like,
Yeah.
they did Smothering Tithe at Mythic, Bribery at Mythic, Demonic Tutor upshifted again to Mythic. I understood it going to Rare. It's a really good card. But Mythic. Spell
Yeah.
Seeker, Mythic. Steel Shaper's Gift, up from Uncommon to Rare. That one's a slap in the face. Not only to the people that already own the card because it's going to go down, but also because it's now a Rare. Bro, it was an Uncommon.
Yeah. I mean, there is the case that Demonic Tutor was an uncommon
Right.
at the time of its printing, but still.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like he was saying with the new, like you were saying with the new video game thing. It's just not feasible to buy this product in the first place.
Yeah, like buying a collector booster is not worth it. At least with like Double Master 2022, you could see a lot of good cards
Right.
in the mix, but in this case, it's not as worth it.
Right. Yeah. Double Masters 2022 was a similar case, but this is just a little bit different to me, especially because it's a Commander product. That's the biggest thing to me. Is the Double Masters? It's going to be Double Masters, but this is supposed to be the product that appeals to Commander players, especially those that just want to enjoy the game. And saying here's a $400 box is not cool. And while I could draft Double Masters 2022 for about $50, drafting this set could cost upwards of like $70 if you're in the wrong places.
Yeah.
And that's US dollars, by the way. It makes me not happy that this is the case. And then the collector booster box, the $80 collector boosters only include like 5 to 7 rares. So it's gonna be, Talrand, Teysa, oh look, Smothering Tithe, that's $20, and something else, and that's it. So you're even gonna have to get really lucky in your collector boosters to get any value. Yeah. So main set, that was a lot. That's the main set. It's just disappointing to see the price point for really just missing a lot of the good stuff and and only 1/7 of the rares being like more expensive than the pack you're buying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
And moving on into only something a little more horrific is our precons that are coming with this set.
they're also the price of a new video game.
And probably not worth the price.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go into this. All right, I'm going to tell you guys the 5-color sliver deck land base. All right, here's what it looks like. Looks like tapped land, exotic orchard, tap land, and it's a bicycle tapped land. There's no conditional tapped land. It's just a tapped land. Tapped, 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 tapped. Oh wait, no. That one's untapped, but has basic land cycling. It only produces colorless. Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Command tower, tapped, tap. It's they're I think they're all tapped lands except for like unclaimed territory and then the basics, which there are only 10. Or sorry, 11.
Yeah. Which for $80 for a commander deck. No.
Yeah, I
That's
expect better. I've Lord of the Rings had better, and that's less.
Yeah, didn't Lord of the Rings have opponent lands?
I believe so. I'm not quite sure.
I'm not gonna bet money on that one, but I'm pretty sure I saw opponent lands in some of the decks, which yeah is doing you better than a master set with decks.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, absolutely. Excuse me. The only real value statement that the sliver deck has is, hey, look at all of these slivers that we have kept vaulted since Legions, and now we're reprinting all of them all at once. Look how cool that is. But they just aren't worth the money.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could construct a sliver deck without spending $80.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, you can go for your your first, or not your first, what is it? A Sliver Queen, $200 commander, but you don't have to. There's better.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, slivers are just good on their own. They don't necessarily like as long as you've got one of the 5 colors, you're good.
Yeah.
You could build Morophon slivers for $20 or like $20 for the commander.
I would say like 50 for the rest of the cards, maybe. That's usually how it looks nowadays.
Yeah. I will say one thing about that precon is I did like the new backup commander that comes with it. It's just kind of a neat like
Oh
it's just
yes.
got a neat effect on it. I'll give it that.
Hmm.
But that's pretty much all I'm giving it.
Yeah, honestly, I'm far more impressed with the new cards than the cards that are already there.
Actually, I have one bone to pick.
Bone to pick. Go.
One of the new slivers that got released. I believe it's called Taunting Sliver. 3 and a blue. And it says whenever a sliver enters the battlefield, goad
Oh,
target creature.
yes.
Why do you put goad in blue?
Yeah, why is that in blue?
That's not a blue effect.
No, it's not. Yeah, I noticed that one too. Actually, when I first looked at the set, or the first looked at the cards, I was like, okay, taunting sliver looks like 3 in a red.
Like, why is that not 3 in a red?
I think the biggest thing is though is that this deck really looks like it's going to be unplayable, just because your lands come in tapped. You are a turn behind everybody else. Even if you're playing
Literally.
against other precons, you are literally a turn behind because all of your lands are tapped.
Yeah.
Um,
Moving on.
yeah,
I am not impressed with the newest the Super Friends commander.
Planeswalker deck. Yep.
Yeah, Commodore Guff is Jeskai Super Friends sounds fun, but I feel like I could do better with Narset.
Yeah, this is also a 4 mana commander, and it doesn't even do the Atraxa thing. It says at the beginning of your end step, put a loyalty counter on another target planeswalker you control.
Yep.
It's really restrictive, man. What? Come on.
Yeah, and its draw effect is only reliant on the number of planeswalkers you've kept in your deck.
Right, exactly.
Which, I mean, sure, it's planeswalker tribal, but also people are going to be beating down your planeswalkers.
Right. My biggest thing is I don't think you can win with this deck. There are only 13 creatures, which means you're not playing beatdown, and your commanders don't. I mean, your planeswalkers don't actually deal enough damage to win
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah, it'd be a really slow grind if you're lucky.
Right. And Like, this is gonna sound really weird for me to say because I love this card, but what is Narset Parter Veils doing in this deck? I love this card, but it doesn't do anything for you. If you're playing Precon versus Precon, Narset Parter Veils will almost never do anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so confusing to me.
Oh, I have draw two cards, or like, oh, I have an opt. Okay,
Yeah, right.
that's the only thing it's really saying no to.
Yeah, and what do? You keep it in your deck, you deal 5 damage to it, and it's gone. You know, or
Yep.
keep it in your hand, deal 5 damage, boom, you're back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And to be quite fair, this land base is a bit better, but not that much better. Not that much better.
Yeah, that lane base isn't much better. I think they did in terms of Planeswalker commanders. I think they did way better with Dihada.
Yeah.
I think that's one's just cooler all around. And I've playing around on the CDH discords. I've seen so many people dropping lists for it and saying that they really love it.
Yeah, it got multiple top 16s in Mox Masters July.
You're right, it did, and
Multiple
it's cool to see. You don't see a lot of Planeswalker commanders anymore getting that high in rankings in CDH tournaments.
Yep. And then our last one that just got revealed today. Unfortunately, no reveal of the Sliver deck yet, so we can't say
Eldrazi,
whether
you
it's good
mean?
or not. Oh yes, yeah, the Eldrazi deck. So we can't tell you whether there are wastes or not yet.
Whether it has waste or it is a waste.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure that this video will probably come out after that reveal, but we're just gonna go over the 3 that we have right now. This one is also just it's probably the best one, but it's not great.
Yeah. For out of these 4, it's probably gonna end up being the best, unless Eldrazi is a banger.
Right.
Because you can't go wrong with Enchantment Tribal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's got some cool reprints. It's got Heliod, God of the Sun. It's got Corsair Crewfix. Oh, it has what's it called? The Dryad of the Elysian Grove.
Cool. Oh, that's actually a pretty good reprint for that deck.
Yeah, it is. And then you see some other good cards like Spirited Companion, Destiny Spinner. Just some pretty good cards. But I don't know. It's hard to say, oh, that one is good in the like pool of just meh.
Yeah.
Cards. The meh decks. There are a few good cards in this one, but I don't know. I am very, very unhappy with how this set's been handled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It could have just been done better. I think Wizards just dropped the ball on this one a lot.
Yeah. And if they do Commander Masters in the future, I really hope it's different.
Yeah.
Because I want to see a good Commander Masters set. I'm one of these people where I complain a lot about Magic, but I don't do it because I just want to complain. I am a happy consumer when there's a good product put out there.
Yeah.
But they just haven't been doing that. And this one is just another in a long line of unfortunate moments.
I guess to just round this out a little bit, I think this is the tried and true advice of anytime a new set is released, especially one like this, is just buy singles. Card prices are going to go down, and you're going to have a much better chance of getting the cards you want by just straight up buying them. Prices are going down on a lot of them.
Yeah, just wait to buy singles.
Yeah, hopefully like second day of release is probably going to be your best moment.
Yeah,
for most cards. I mean, wait on cards like Personal Tutor or Capture of Jinju.
Yeah, I would say wait for a bit longer on those Portal 3 Kingdoms cards, but other than that, most of these are going to be at their lowest right when the set releases.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I think that's a perfect way to round it out, finish this up. Just, yeah, buy singles.
Yeah, buy singles.
Hope the cards you want go down, and then buy singles.
Yeah, and thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe. We're a pretty new channel here, so we hope to we hope to put a good word into the Magic community.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. This has been Dade,
And this has been Sully.
and thanks for watching.
Bye.